Hey, Scout Trick friends. We've got a little emergency preparedness going on. And here we are at our local Tractor Supply and going to get some propane. So I've got all my tanks here, quite a few. Some of these are going to be out of compliance. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But we've got a very cold spell moving in here, and we want to get ready for it. And as you can see, it's 62 degrees here today, which is pretty warm. And it starts dipping down. There's a wind advisory. You could hear the wind in the recording, but it starts getting down and high in the 30s, low 30s, and then a low in the teens. And this is unusual for this area for that many days. We are back from Tractor Supply, and I've got a lot of these. Some were empty, some were partially full, some were almost full, but I went ahead and topped them all off to make sure that we have plenty of propane in case the power goes out here. So, you know, as they say, be prepared. It's important. So I've got two smokers. One actually belongs to my oldest son. But those go off of propane. We could smoke something if we needed to cook something, if there's no electricity, and then we have a grill here that goes off of propane. And then I've got a camp chef as well if we needed to cook. So important to have propane, some way to cook if there's no electricity. You can't use the traditional stoves or heat things up in a microwave. And I've also got this little guy hooks up to a propane tank. We call this flamethrower. It's good for burning weeds and things. We need to start a brush fire, controlled brush fire. That's good for that. But then I've got also a generator here, and we can use this if power goes out to power certain things, and it uses 100% fuel as well as propane. So a few options here, and just getting ready for this potential cold weather spell. I'd say the cold weather spell is not potential. I'd say it's going to happen. It's just a potential power outage. But as we say, if you're only prepared for the expected, you're not really prepared. Prepare for the unexpected as well. So a lot of these are out of compliance. So what I did when I went there, because there's so many numbers on these things, it's like, where's the number or the manufacturing date and all that? Some of them are sideways, some of them are straight up like this, and then some of them are just, this one's upside down. So it's like, so the guy at Tractor Supply was very helpful and helped me to identify the actual manufacturer's date on these. So in the state of Tennessee, according to Tractor Supply, vendors can only refill these up to, has to be within 12 years of the manufacturer date. So for example, this one was 2019. So that one is just within 5 years or so of today. So that one was able to be refilled. I circled those. Got this one here, which was, it's hard to read, but we think it says, I assume the 07 is the month, July, but that is the year 2011. So that is slightly out of compliance. So I put an X by those so that he could not refill. But some of these have actual propane still in them, so I'm going to use these up first. And then the good thing is, rather than have to buy a brand new tank, you can take them to places like Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, and just swap them out. So as opposed to paying $40 for a brand new tank, you can swap them out for significantly less than that. Just get a full tank. It's a way to cycle through your out of compliance tanks and get new ones. Now that one back there is obviously, that one's way out of date. I wouldn't even if that was in compliance, I would not even fill it because I don't trust it. So it's got an X on it. The other thing is, so 12 years from the manufacturer date, that I think is a state policy. So in Tennessee, it's 12 years. But if it has that letter A, no, not A, sorry, a letter E, one of these has an E, I think. One of those in the back, maybe. If it has an E, then that means it's been refurbished, and they can refill those within, if it's within 5 years. So I had 1 or 2 maybe of those. I'm not sure what the A means, but we just assume that was 12 years. I usually take them and let them look at them, and they can decide whether they want to fill them or what they don't want to fill them. But the propane's going to come in handy if we do lose electricity, because then we can certainly cook a lot of things on the grill or the smoker and heat things up as well. So it's going to get very cold here. Don't know that we're going to lose power, but we have lost power before, and it's a scout's responsibility to be prepared, and that's certainly what we're trying to do. So today's propane, gonna work on getting some fuel. Probably tomorrow, and we'll talk about that. So this is part 1 in getting prepared for the extreme cold conditions that are coming up here in about 6 or 7 more days. And we are at Kroger, popular supermarket here in Tennessee, and as you can see, the Blue Rhino brand. The exchange is 20 bucks. Basically no exchange, meaning you're just going to buy a tank. It's $55. So anytime you can hold on to these tanks and then just bring them in and exchange them, swap them out, that is definitely the best way to go. Scout is thrifty. A couple items I noticed here is that they accept, where's it at? They acceptable empties. They have certain regulations that have to be met. So no excessive rust, dents, or structural defects. The foot ring has to be intact, no multiple openings, intact and operable upright valve without gauge. So interesting. So I'm here at Home Depot and wanted to just do some comparative pricing because, again, this Scout is thrifty. This is AmeriGas brand. Let's see here. Exchange your tank. No, wait a minute. That says exchange your tank. $21.98. Okay. But over here, oh, okay. You can buy a spare for $22.74, or you could get a brand new one. Wait a minute. That says exchange. Okay, so this over here, which is self-serve, says exchange your tank $21.98. If you go over here, it says tank purchase, no exchange, $68.74. $22.74. I don't think these up here make sense because that says buy a spare. Well, buying a spare would be like buying a brand new one. This is exchange $22.74. One of these is old. It's $22.74 versus $21.98. Yeah, so I think actually the black writing that you see at the top, exchange your empty, buy a spare, I think those are swapped. They put the pricing on the wrong ones. So it should be buy a spare $68.74, exchange your empty $22.74. But it still doesn't make sense with this right here, $21.98, exchange your tank. So it's all the same. Anyway, it's still cheaper a little bit over at Kroger. Okay, so we're now at Walmart just doing some pricing. AmeriGas, and this is $19.92 for exchange your tank, swap out, or $54 to get a spare. However, this is about 23 minutes from the farm, and the Kroger, which was slightly more expensive by a few cents to exchange, is only about 5 minutes. So I'd spend more gas coming here than getting it. So if I get it, I'll probably swap it out at Kroger. Because again, the Scout is thrifty. We're gonna have lots of propane. Get ready for this. Be prepared for this extreme cold weather coming in.